there, Riderflex Nation. Steve Urban here with more career advice and job interviewing tips for you. And as a quick reminder, if you enjoy our podcast, please remember to subscribe to our channel and like the episodes. And on today's podcast, should you add hobbies and or the fact that you played college sports on your resume or on your LinkedIn profile? Now, there's lots of opinions on this, and you could probably ask 50 recruiters, and maybe it's, half and half. Not sure. In fact, even at Riderflex internally, we have probably one or two recruiters on our team that probably disagree with me here. And of course, that's the great thing about our podcast is we can give you our opinions and then let you decide. Here's my personal opinion, Steve Urban's opinion on this topic for college athletics or hobbies on resumes and LinkedIn profiles. I think you should put them on there for a few reasons. First, let's talk about the college athletics, okay? For anybody out there, any sports fan out there, right? Anybody that loves sports or played sports in high school or whatever, or played sports in college, if you have the grit and determination and competitive spirit to play sports in college at any level, it really separates you from the pack. Most of the time, most people I've interviewed that have played college athletics, especially if they played Division I, there is something different about those people most of the time. They have a super competitive edge about them. They're very team-oriented. Nothing scares them. They don't get rattled easy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Work ethic is just extremely high normally. And so I have found that anybody that I've interviewed most of the time, if they played Division I, they're usually going to turn out to be a great candidate and a great employee. So would I put college athletics on my profile? I absolutely would. Okay, absolutely would. For example, I interviewed a lady one time. She was a graduate of Cornell, which is already a major success, right? During the chat, I uncovered that she was also a 4-year starter on the lacrosse team at Cornell, and that was nowhere on her profile. And once she told me that, that's even more ammunition that she is a superstar, right? Super high caliber, high energy, great work ethic, competitive, etc. So I would put it on there for athletics for a number of reasons. The other reason, by the way, is that it's an emotional tie, right? You may get your profile in front of a recruiter or an employer that went to that school or loves that sport or played that sport, and then boom, you got an emotional connection with that person right away, which also gives you a competitive advantage. All right. Now let's talk about the hobbies. Would I list a hobby? You know what? I do think if at times it's a creative way to get noticed, and really it speaks to the emotional connection piece again, right? If you have a hobby that happens to match the person looking at your profile, boom. You got the emotional connection. You got their attention. Remember, for recruiters and employers and HR people, they're looking at resumes all day long. It gets monotonous, right? It really, it's a tough job. And so all of a sudden they get a little spark, right? A little emotional connection when they see maybe a hobby that you have that they also like, or maybe one of their family members like, and bam, you got their attention. It'll give you a little bit of a competitive edge to get noticed. And that's the reason I like to include hobbies and college athletics on your profile. And there is your Riderflex tip of the day. We truly hope you find our material helpful and entertaining. And while our podcast can be heard across most platforms, including iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube, and SoundCloud, you can become a supporter of this podcast by visiting our show on the platform Anchor FM. That's anchor.fm/Riderflex. You can also send us your questions or suggested topics for future episodes to the email address podcast@riderflex.com. Or drop us a voicemail at 888-964 858-5876, extension 710. Visit riderflex.com to learn more about us. Thanks so much for listening, folks, and have a great day.